There's a very fine line between brave and stupid. Okay, that fine line you cross, you die. That could be fatal. So you want to be nice, but Mr. Nice also on the mountain cannot save life. Oh my God, yeah, well, you got frostbite, you got to cut your fingers, and if you're on 1,000 meters, you probably could not even come down because you cannot use your fingers. You need to be able to perform when no one is watching and still give 100%. I didn't only give up my career in the Special Forces. I rejected the best offer that no one can reject. I emptied all my savings and I put everything on the line to raise the name of the Nepalese climbers and also to show the world that doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter where you come from, you can literally, prove that nothing is impossible.
Today, we sit down with Nims before one of his biggest events of the year and talk about his life growing up in the humble beginnings in Nepal, becoming a Gurkha, getting into the SAS, his experience in the military, and then we talk about all the things that didn't make it into 14 Peaks, from Mount Everest to K2 and many, many more. Nims is one of those guys who is beyond inspirational. He is trying to achieve the impossible, and things like that just get me going, man. It is so inspiring. And just before we get into it, guys, we're about to hit 800,000 subscribers on the channel. So please tick us over by hitting that subscribe button and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Only 5% of you are subscribed right now. We want to try and hit 15% by the end of the year. And please, if you want to see this episode early, head to Spotify in the link down below. And thank you to all our Patreon supporters and producers of this episode. Let's dive into it. Yeah, first of all, I just want to start with recapping, mate. The first time we spoke was just before K2 Winter, before the documentary, before you finished Project Possible. And I remember you saying, they're possibly filming this documentary on me, it's going to come out, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Did you expect it to have this kind of impact back then?
Yes. I think everything I do, I have always something in my mind. And but I don't say it until I do it most of the time. That was a bit reverse on the Project Possible because I had no funds and I had to go out loud and all that. But yeah, even that's from even setting up the Elite Expert, the guiding company. And I set that up before I started the Project Possible. So when I was breaking the world records, at the same point, I was pushing forward Elite Expert. That means I was also guiding it. I was trying to bring it into the market. So I think that entrepreneurship was always in my DNA. Moving forward, I know we talk about K2 and I didn't want it to commit that season, to be honest, for many reasons. But yeah, here we are.
Here we are, man. I mean, the situation changed from then till now. Must be drastic. Like, I mean, the amount of people you've impacted, just from like a social media standpoint, the lives you touch now is just crazy. But back then you was putting in the work anyway. Like you was still putting in the work. I think like you was back for a few days and you still managed to squeeze us in for an interview, which, at the time, I think you was rushing around, you was doing a workout in your conservatory. Yeah. So wild stuff, mate. Just for a soundbite, can you just introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm Nimsdai. I was born in Nepal in a very humbling family. I was raised in the Gurkhas and made in UK Special Forces, plus all these world records. So yeah.
And could you introduce yourself with Elite Expeditions, your role at Elite Expeditions and what you guys do as well?
So yeah, I'm the founder of and the CEO of the Elite Expert and the expert leader. So what we do is we help people achieve their new possible. We have now more than 100 of people who, when first joined us, had no clue about mountaineering, and they started with us from Kilimanjaro or either Aconcagua, and 100 plus of them have now summited Everest. Some of them have done 14 peaks. Not only that, through Elite Expert, we have given the opportunity to some of the team members, the Sherpas, and also some of them have completed the 14 peaks. And one particular, Sherpa, when he joined me on Annapurna on 14 peaks, he was massively kind of, discriminated. Like everybody say, okay, this guy never summited, he's useless, he cannot do this. So he had no any 1,000 meter summits under his belt. And from that to now, where, he has got only one, left to complete his 14 peaks and all. So there's a lot. Literally I've been working with the team in terms of today's presentation, and every time when I work, we look from the editorial perspective. So okay, let's change this one, that, and it's a different mindset, right? Then this morning of course I'm doing the first ever public speaking gig, and although I have spoken for the big corporates, the largest in the world, from BlackRock to JP Morgan, you name it, this was very special to me. It is a self-organized event, and of course with everything, when the New York Times came, everything fell apart from sponsorship, then to pick up and work. Jesus holy, I don't know, yeah. And then I watched the first intro video, and I couldn't stop crying. And yes, people, when they see it, they were like, wow, right? But they don't know what it took me to get to that position. So many things, people look at social media and they probably say, yeah, Nims had got this much following, he's very successful, he does what he says and all that, but it's always hard to be on the top, because literally people are there to take you down, and most of the people who wants to take you down are, unfortunately, the people 95% of they are your friends, so yeah, many things, so especially if younger generation and the kids are looking into that, with success, name and fame, you will be part of that storm. And would I have write that? Would I have done that again, all that? Yes, absolutely yes, because I also know how many, changes in terms of life, how many positive impact I have made in people's life. I literally get messages from people who are about to, kill themselves, to people who are struggling in the hospital, to everything, and each message, it means something. So yeah.
Yeah, I think people probably see the result now. And I think that's why it's so interesting from back when we first spoke. I mean, they were some humble beginnings, but if we take it further back than that, back to Nepal, when was the first experience with the mountains? When did you know that this was a world you wanted to step into?
I never, ever even knew what mountaineering is or what climbing is, okay? As I grew up, all I wanted to be was the Gurkha in the British Army. And I studied, of course, in the book, general knowledge book, that the first person to climb Everest is, Tenzing Norgay Sherpa and Edmund Hillary. And it's same thing, the capital of England is London, or, you're reading that, So I never understand what that meant in reference to Everest. And so this was not until I was 30 years old. So at this point, I was in the Special Forces with the SBS. I was traveling different part of the world in mission or, critical exercises. And then when the people see me, all my friends are white, relatively 6 foot tall and all that. And they see this brown guy, hanging around with all these people. So they would say, hey, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Nepal. And guys, believe me, some people don't know where Nepal is. So they're like, where it is, Then I say, well, do you know Mount Everest? And they're like, yeah, we know Mount Everest. And they said, have you climbed it? I said, no. And they said, have you seen it? I said, no. And after saying no to 3 people, I was embarrassed, actually. So I was like, Jesus, I need to go and, at least trek to base camp. And after that, I can say, yeah, I have seen Everest, So yeah, I started my first ever trek at the age of 30. And that changed everything. So guys, it's never too late to start anything new in life.
Yeah, I thought you was going to come up with some story as a kid. You were running up the mountains and stuff. But
I grew up in the most flat and the warmest part of Nepal, So
what part of Nepal did you grow up in?
Chitwan.
Chitwan, yeah, I know Chitwan.
Yeah, where, the one-horned rhinos and tigers and elephants are.
Yeah. We went up that way. We went to Nepal.
Oh.
Yeah, last year, and we was in the Chitwan, the forest.
Oh, right, yeah, okay,
yeah. Okay, so the Gurkhas, what is that? Because I don't think people understand the pride that comes with that, and how important getting into the Gurkhas is, and how that's seen amongst the local community, and once you achieve that status. I mean, what was that process like for you?
Gurkhas, wow. It is everything for me, I guess. I grew up, seeing my father, my both brother were in the Gurkhas as well. But more than that, we are known for the most fearful soldier in the planet. They say, if somebody is saying that, he's not afraid, either he's lying or he's a Gurkha. And we also have some of the I don't know what's the word in English, because it's my second language. It's probably the most proud and something that you take into the chest. Phil Marshall quoted, we never had any loyal and bravest friend, as like a Gurkha. That comes from the World War. So we are known for, loyalty, bravery, and integrity. And so, yeah, and then we are the only country in the world that's not part of the Commonwealth, but still, can join the British Army. And the history goes long, long way, more than 200 years.
A quick message from today's sponsor. I want to talk about something that I genuinely use every day, the Waking Up app. If you're disciplined and used to operating under pressure, and you still feel like your mind never fully switches off, this is probably for you. For a long time, I thought that being calm just meant staying functional. But what I didn't notice was what was happening underneath. Constant mental noise, tension, and irritation, just running quietly in the background. Waking Up helped me notice that in real time, not after the fact, but by seeing what was actually happening in my mind as it was happening. I used it between meetings, after filming, or when something just didn't go to plan. And when you feel that immediate spike of tension, instead of reacting automatically, you catch it in the moment. And once you see it clearly, it loses its grip. This isn't background music or vague breathing advice. It's real mental training from world-renowned experts. You learn how your attention works, why your mind reacts the way it does, and how to stay clear-headed instead of running on autopilot. If you care about clarity, self-control, and performing well under pressure, not just feeling calm, this app is built exactly for that. You can try the full app completely free for 30 days. No commitment, completely risk-free. Just go to wakingup.com/Mulligan Brothers or use the link in the description exclusively for our viewers to start your free trial right now. That's wakingup.com/Mulligan Brothers or use the link in the description. Thank you to Waking Up for making it free for you guys. Let's get back into the episode.
That obviously, you become a Gurkha locally. It's a huge deal. Like there are, people's respect and understanding of what you've had to go through, the training, the pride that comes with that.
Yeah, the training, just to let you know, at my point, when I applied for the selection, there were 33,000 people aged between 18 and 21 applying for it. And there was a vacancy for only 330 people. So you do the maths, it's a tough selection.
It's some process. And then to go from that, then to SBS as well. That selection, some of the toughest on planet Earth again. When did the dream of special forces begin? Like, when did you think, oh, maybe this is something I could do?
When I joined the Gurkhas, I didn't knew that, there was such things called, SAS, SBS, Special Forces and all that. So by the end of the training phase, I started, knowing about them. And it was just like, guys, do you know, God, they are like, Special Forces, they are like James Bond. But it's just like a figure or, that you don't see, but you just talk about it. And for me, I was always taught by my Gurkha instructor that we are the most, fittest and bravest soldier in the world. And I believe in that. And I'll remind me to answer your question, but I will get into this something, So I was the fastest in my platoon in the company. So I would go for a competition run with my platoon for 6-miler. I will do that in 29 minutes. I come back, finish it, and I go and run with the second platoon, another platoon, completely new platoon, and I will still beat all of them. So that's me, So I used to take so much pride. So then I was selected from the regiment to go and represent, and this is when I went and it's only half-miler, ran, And I was like, 'cause I have been told, this is how naive I am, I was told that you are the best and you are the fittest soldier in the planet. So, and I see someone in front of me, and I'm like, how is this possible? And this guy is from Kenya, double the size, and they are like going. And I was like, Jesus, how this is wrong, So I remember, and I ran so hard that I could not even breathe. Because I believe what my instructor was saying. I'm just 18-year-old kid, and I'm just been trained to believe what they're saying, So, like this, where I could not, yes, I still managed to do in, hour and 18 minutes, came third, but nowhere near to this guy. Then that's when I went, and I had to kind of, start thinking everything about myself. I was like, Nims, come on, have a common sense. If the Gurkhas, if we as a Nepalese were the best in the fitness, then we should have won all the Olympic. But then I understand what they mean by is average fitness. Average fitness, like for example, 330 come into the training for the Gurkhas, 100% pass it. And you don't have that ratio in anywhere else, So anyway, to answer your question, as you can see, I'm a very proud Gurkha, right? Then I noticed, if we are the best, why there's no one in the SBS? And the second thing, of course, heard about, when you're in SF, you can grow your hair, you just go and do things, like the James Bond and all that. And also, yeah, that's kind of in the start I hearing, and I'll tell you, when I heard about it, then I started obviously growing up. This is my 6 years point within the Gurkhas. I went to Afghanistan, and I started working with the Royal Marines, because the SBS is majority part of the SBS, recruitment comes from the Royal Marines Commando. And when I saw them, they were such a fit lads, but very humble. And I was like, okay, And then the guy said, Nims, if you go to SBS, you need to be good at swimming, blah, blah. And then there's extra. And I said, okay, anyway, fine. And then when I first went to my platoon commander, which is British, I said, hey, I would like to go for the selection. And you know what he said to me? He said to me, Nims, do you know what? Some of the best instructor from the regiment have gone for the selection. They haven't passed it. They are like the flyer with everything, from the promotion to everything. You can't do that. And I said, yes, I can do it. And then he said something that really hurt me. He said, Nims, it's not only about fitness. You need this. And, straight away I said it. You know what, sir? I'm going one way. Either I pass the selection. If I don't, I'm going to resign from the British Army. And that's a big thing for me to say. And maybe, maybe I challenge the authorities or whatever. Normally they give you like 6 months to train if you say you go to special forces, because it's such a big thing. I wasn't given any time off to train. So everything I was training was during my off-peak. And yeah, I passed it.
How was the process?
Very tough. I still remember, and many of my special forces would not even believe it probably, because we come from completely different environment, but people who have seen me training that, they know, So I used to wake up really early in the morning, sometimes 3 a.m. Then I carry 75 to 80 pound backpack. I run 20 kilometers to the military barracks. Then I go, I have a breakfast, then I do whatever that day's routine is, physical training. I compete with my colleagues, I'm a very competitive guy. So I compete, I have to be at the front, I have to be first. I do whatever that physical training is, 6 milers, 8 milers, sometimes assault course, whatever it is. Then the whole day was, pretty much the military work. And then in the evening, I would just run clean fatigue. That means I would leave my Bergen there. I run back to the home, quick dinner, go to the gym, cycle 65 kilometers in the push bike, then to the swimming, because I wanted to get into the SBS, and I do front crawl. Imagine, for front crawl for this land guy who came from landlocked country who doesn't know swimming, and also, but I was going full on, and I used to do 100 times non-stop, and I trained like that so next day, again, in the morning, I don't need to carry my backpack because it's in the barracks. So I run, clean fatigue, do everything again. In the evening, I carry the backpack, come back to home. So it was like that, So I trained like that for 6 months, 6 days a week. I never say, today, I'm tired. If I'm tired, I wake up 1 hour early because I have to be in time in the military camp, But I never made an excuse. I could have made hundreds of excuses, I could have said, okay, today there's a snow, it's health and safety, blah, 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 Today, my joint and my legs are not giving, I can make that, but I never made it. I just went on and on and on because I believe that when I go for the fitness aspect of the thing, it has to be in my pocket. I don't need to worry about passing whatever that physical test is. I just need to be able to think clearly when I have to make mission critical decision and so that I'm good enough to be part of the elite member. So, yeah. And the hardest part, they say you have to be a gray man in the selection, and I couldn't be because how can I be a gray man? Jesus, I'm brown, Gurkha, you can pick me from miles away. So whatever mistake I make, you kind of easily pick up. And then the DS, they used to like bring me and then they say, hey, they will ask me a question. And when I answer the question, they will say, speak English. I wanted to kill them, but of course, it's all. Throughout the whole 6 months, I was never told that I have done any good. Every day was, you are the worst soldier in the planet, you cannot make it, you are just a number. 6 months. And it makes sense now, you go into this kind of operations, and if you need always somebody tapping in your shoulder, yeah, man, you're doing good. You need always that kind of, you are not good enough to be in the special forces. Because you always need some validation from somebody else. You need to be able to perform when no one is watching and still give 100%. And I understand the bigger picture.
So how, you're growing up in Nepal, you go to the Gurkhas, you're told that the Gurkhas are the fittest, you 100% believe that to the point where
we are, in terms of the group and teamwork, there's no one in the world. That's why we win best of the best competition like Cameroon Patrol and everything. It's always the Gurkhas come first because as an average, we are a machine. As an individual, yes, maybe some people will beat us, many people, but as a team, nothing. No one can beat us because we operate like that.
But where did that sureness and self-belief come from? Like to know that you're this fit, you believe
it's a training, it's the mindset. You are in this closed compound, this environment where, you've been trained for 11 months and, it's making you believe that, So, and you join the Gurkhas at the age of 18, like for me, like as I said, I was so like, I just believed what my instructor was saying it. So imagine,
What was it like working with the British guys?
Sometimes difficult with the sense of humor, but hey, it's all right. You just need to adapt, and I had some amazing friends and some bitter. That's in life, everywhere. So, but you just need to adapt and work.
And what was it like retiring? Like once you got out, like did you still struggle to adjust back to everyday life?
No, everything what I have done, I do 100%, and I move into next phase.
So what was the next phase after you retired?
I didn't retire. I quit my job. I give up my pension, everything. The next one was to raise the name of the Nepalese climbers and also to show the world that doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter where you come from, you can literally, prove that nothing is impossible. So then that belief was hand in hand in parallel, and I believe it. You just need to believe it. Some people come with fake title for sponsorship and all that. That doesn't work because it's not, you need to believe to the core, to the bone of, whatever you believe is. Then only you can do the magical thing. And for me, the purpose was bigger than me, so yeah.
What was that first big climb that you did that you really started to realize that this is where you're going to go?
Okay, this was 2017. I was one of the instructors for the Gurkha expedition, the military expedition on Everest. And that season, the official team couldn't set the fixed lines to the top. So normally on Everest and seasons, there is an official team of 10 to 12 Sherpas. They go and fix the lines. Then the rest of the climbers go and summit. So this is when I was still in Special Forces. So that season is quite deep. Okay, let me get into this politics of everything. So I was the fittest guy in the team from the Gurkhas, and I was instructor. And when the British officer put the name of the summit team, I wasn't in there. It was full of British officers, British counterparts, and one very junior Gurkha soldier who cannot even say a word in English improperly. I realized the tactics, and I said, okay, this is not fair, because I had an argument, and I stormed out of the tent. I still remember, you know what? Okay, do as you want. And then they thought the official team will go and fix the lines, and they can go and jump at the back of the lines, put the hand jumar and do that. But, by luck or but whatever it is, the official team couldn't set the fixed lines. And what does it means to me as an individual? So for me, when I come back to UK, I don't want my friends to be saying that, Nims, Gurkha, mate, Everest is in your backyard, you don't even climb that, They would say that, of course. But in serious case, it was a huge reputational risk for the brigade of Gurkhas. Imagine you are the most fittest, the most bravest, whatever that country from Nepal, and you cannot even climb Everest. What does people going to make out of it? So that's when I step up to lead the fixing team, managed to set the fixed lines to the top, then only open the lines for our team only, for the rest of the mountaineers. After that, I came to Kathmandu. I partied wild for 7 days. I couldn't drink anymore. Then I went and then I climbed Everest, Lhotse and Makalu in 5 days. And in between that, I had 2 days of partying at Namche Bazaar, break. And then when I climbed Makalu, I got back to base camp. And the helicopter was supposed to come and pick me. It's full on endurance, okay? And the helicopter couldn't come because of the weather. So I said, you know what? Fuck that, I'm gonna run. So I get my team. So we have no rest, coming to base camp, so we pack up, jack up, and he started running throughout the whole day and night. And only one team member could make me at the end. And the route of the Makalu is not like Everest, it's like up and down, doesn't matter what, it's a 6 days worth of a trek. So next morning I was in this road head and I was still fresh. So I was like, oh, maybe I could do more. So that's when I get the idea. But the whole concept, it goes back, I started figuring out a lot of Western climbers have submitted Everest and climb Everest or whatever it is, but the Sherpas, the climbing community who actually does the hard work, has always been in the shadows, and that wasn't fair. Today, when people ask me, Nims, what is your mission? My mission statement is I want to be fair on people. Doesn't matter what ethics, what country, what background, what they come from. I want to be fair on people because I know how it is to be on the other side of the road. A lot of things. You can write, God knows, if you go through the life story, 12 books, but yeah, anyway.
Just a quick message from today's sponsor. After putting my body through extreme physical and mental stress over the last few years, I realized something important. Most people don't have a health problem, they have a clarity problem. They know something feels off, but they don't have real data or real guidance. That's what Marek Health helped me with. This isn't generic healthcare. You don't get brushed off, you don't get handed vague advice, or have to wait months just to have a real conversation. You get comprehensive lab work, a dedicated health coach who actually checks in, and licensed medical providers who help you understand what's happening in your body and what your options are moving forward. Whether you're dealing with low energy, sleep issue, hormone imbalance, or you just want to perform at your very best, Marek gives you the tools and the team to make the progress. No guessing, no one-size-fits-all protocol. This is real health optimization service. And this isn't just for athletes. If you're someone who takes performance seriously, physically or mentally, this is about making informed decisions instead of hoping things sort themselves out. If you're serious about your health, the first step is simple. Get your blood work done. Head to the link in the description and use code Mulligan for an exclusive offer on your initial assessment. Stop guessing and start taking ownership of your health. Go to the link in the description for your exclusive discount and make sure you use code Mulligan. Thank you, Marek Health, and let's get back into the episode.
The realization that you was able to do basically like an ultra marathon or whatever it was through the mountains, is that, would you put that down to training? Because when we watch the documentary, there's a scene in it where you get tested and it's like...
I never trained for mountain, buddy, until I went to K2 Winter.
So is there something super physiological about your body that's like designed?
Scientists really need to test. I don't know. I'm okay, I do okay. And my belief is like, I'm one of the fittest Gurkha soldier in this planet. You know, I pass all the special forces selection. I'm not nif-naf, you know, I do half marathon in an hour and 18 minutes, you know, it's still good timing. So, and I can move with the weights. And of course my physical or how my body is doesn't allow me to be number one in the world, let's say in running or whatever it is, but my speed at mountain I don't lose it.
The documentary, I've seen the credits, like you filmed for the most part, the documentary, you filmed a lot of the documentary. And I'm curious, you know, so many hours going to these films. I'm sure there was tons and tons of footage, tons of moments. What didn't make the cut? Like, what are the things, like, what's one of the moments that you thought that should have been in the film, but it didn't make the edit? Or
Oh, there are a lot. Because it is like, you know, this whole thing, 14 peaks. You are climbing 14 mountains. You are fixing the lines. You know, the weather is coming like howling, you know, and then there comes the rescue, you know, and then there's one where, like, you know, yeah, many aspects, you know, the fundraising part, you know, a lot, you know, it's a lot to squeeze that in one thing. So yeah, many, you know.
Once Project Possible came out, how did your life change after that?
Everybody trying to take me down. Yeah, because I came from pretty much from no one literally knowing to like this Nimsdai, you know, showing the world that nothing is impossible. Then if I've just done the records and just stay as a professional athlete, I wouldn't have any drama. But then I turned that into business. So Elite Expert, you know, started taking, you know, billionaires, millionaires as a VIP clients, and I offset many business, you know, people who have been, you know, in that industry for 2-3 decades or whatever it is. And also I challenge the authority in many occasions as well. Many things, you know, with success, many things comes in. And the first thing, you know, when the 14 Peaks came out, straight away it was the Western climbers who started criticizing it, like, oh, you know, it's good, but it's not pure form because, you know, he used oxygen and all that. So I started saying, whoa, wow. And the list goes on, you know. And because I think, as I said, entrepreneurship is in my DNA. So from there, you know, we started launching the skydiving company. There was only one company who used to do that. And we came in, but the other company owners, they are operating from, you know, their home. But I jumped myself, so people would like to jump with me, not, you know, someone who, you know, they don't know or who sat at home and who is just a purely businessman. So we started taking over that, and then kind of, and it goes into even with the clothing as well. You know, you launch the clothing brand, you know, that when people really look into stuff we're doing, you know, we are number one. We are number one. Nobody does like what we do. We use the best fabric, right? And it is from scratch to every the end product. I'm there from designing to testing with myself, my team, because my team, you know, who are at the top elite level, they also need to say it's good, you know, not only me saying it. So then it comes, and then boom, and then the Elite Expert clients are wearing it. So I multiply everything than the normal entrepreneur, because I have the link with his business. Then at one point I found out at the base camp where all the competitors were saying that now Nims has got all these VVIP clients, you know, let's, you know, don't give him a helicopter. Let's see how he's going to run these things, you know. So when I heard that, then I had to go and buy the helicopter company, and then they started flying fall, and I had to sustain this, because there's a thing called AOC, you know, more technical part. And people who are in that industry were so influential within the things, then, you know, I had to basically, you know, like sustain this company for a year. Or running cost for each month is 60 grand. Now it's full and running and all that. So from all that level, even when I go to America and all these things, and I think I made people very insecure. And I climb, you know, like I climb Everest Lhotse Makalu in 36 hours. And I climb Nanga Parbat G1, G2, Broad Peak, K2 while leading more than a dozen of clients without oxygen. I can climb that while I'm leading in 26 days without oxygen. So I think I make people very insecure. And also, I come from the special forces background. And what I have is many of these entrepreneur and business don't have it. And when you are so yeah, it came with so many things at different level. But on the positive side, I have been able to change so many people's life, where it matters the most. Like, for example, 2012, my first trek to Everest Base Camp, my porters were not allowed to stay in the hotel, in the lodge. This is low budget we're talking about at the elevation. That's more than anything else. It's a humiliation, it's disrespect. So when I was in the Gurkhas, 1,300 pounds a month doesn't justify me to give my life like that. I can give my life like nobody else for the country, for the Brigade of Gurkhas. If my commander said, Nims, there is an enemy bunker on that hill, go and take over. I go fearless. I will go a charge alone if whatever they say. The command is, everything for me. This is me. But I did not do that because of they are paying me 1,300 or I do that for who I am as a Brigade of Gurkhas. That's what I represent. So going back into the porters, yes, they could be the least paid person in the world, but people need respect. Imagine you say, okay, you cannot stay here and there's no place to live. That really got me. And until now, fast moving forward, let's do the maths, 2012, 2022 is 10 years. 13 years afterwards, we built a porter house with a fund of over $500,000, which looks like a 5-star hotel. People even complain that, and that's what we do. That's there. I have no any desire. Even when I put everything on the line, everybody can talk for 14 picks. Let's go. I didn't only give up my career in the special forces. I rejected the best offer that no one can reject. Yes, give me this offer. I rejected that because of who I am. Moving from there, I put my house on the on the line. I emptied all my saving. Now let's go into the family part. What my brothers, who's like my father, they are thinking. He didn't talk to me for 6 months. He's like, he's like my parents. He sent me to this school. What about my wife? I put everything on the line. I'm that person. I don't have big desire. I don't have it, but I want it to be fair. Nowadays, okay, people say, Nims, why are you charging so much for your talk when the corporate talk? Well, because if they can pay that amount to somebody who is my equivalent, why they can pay me just because I'm brown or I'm a Gurkha or I'm from Nepal? No, I just want the fairness. It's not about money.
There's a with the SAS, with the Gurkhas, there's a brotherhood. Everyone's supposed to have each other's backs and all that kind of stuff. But I'm curious as to when you say that people came for you.
Bro, when it comes to money.
Did you feel that?
Because before I wasn't successful enough. So that's why you don't know. When you make that threshold, whatever that breaking point is, yes.
Did that hurt to see your brothers do that?
Let me see anything. Let's see the money. What money does now. How many evil things are happening in this world just because of money and power? I think people should be able to relate that.
The difficulty with being a great man, or trying to be a great man, or trying to achieve great things, and balancing a great personal life, being a great father, being a great partner, being a great son. Have you struggled with that? Have you managed to find balance in that?
Massively. Yes, difficulties. It's next level, and I think if I wasn't who I am, person who lives with a purpose and all that, yeah, when people try to break my records, they send, everybody, even from the Sherpas to best everything and all that, they play everything. And, when people try to come and question your integrity and try to strip off you for what it matters the most, it gets you. It gets you. Difficulties, being betrayed by your friends. I can never do this. People will come drink with me and just party with me and just say, Nims, I heard about this, with the government, and then they were the person to send this guy to go and complain and all that. And how can you be so much a snake, my God? If I don't like you, I say I don't like you. I can just, I can't do this, bro. I can't. Maybe now I learn a bit from all these things. And everything that you do in life, if it's not about you and you go into the larger scale, it comes with sacrifice. It does. There's nothing such as balance and all that. You name any of these people who have made the lights, they all have sacrifice. From the family to their own maybe life or whatever it is, maybe relaxing, whatever you call the word or whatever it is. There is a huge level of sacrifice at many levels. And you cannot be Mr. Nice. You know, when I run 5, 6, I don't know how many business, but yeah, as a boss, you know, I have certain standard. I come from the special forces background. I say how it is, and sometimes it's also tough because you want to be nice, but Mr. Nice also on the mountain cannot save life. You could be the most nice person like this, but you know that person is dead because you know you cannot say, you know, just maybe you think you're going to lose the business or what, you know.
From the family perspective, is it worth it? Is that sacrifice worth it?
I don't know the answer to that. Let's be honest.
What's the biggest cause of death on the mountains? Like, I mean, not the biggest cause of death, the biggest cause that people don't understand, like is overlooked by people who maybe aren't as professional or take stuff for granted. Like, is there something that stands out to you?
Few things. Okay, first, sometimes people, okay, there's a very fine line between brave and stupid. Okay, that fine line you cross, you die. That could be fatal. But also, you know, people not really being honest to themselves about their true abilities and capabilities, and kind of, you know, committing, thinking that they could do it rather than knowing that yes, I can make it. It's a very, very, like, you know, it's a very thin line, you know. So that's when the bigger issues comes in. And of course, you got to believe in the team and all that. Sometimes people just go on the mountain. Yeah, if something happened to me here, my team going to save me, or you know, they're expecting already things, you know, and also some ill preparation. And some people don't understand the severity of the expedition. Like for example, I had, like currently on Antarctica, I had 3 girls, really beautiful girls, and they were the only girl in the whole of the expedition, 5, 6 teams. And I asked my clients to say, can you please cover your face? Because if you don't, then that's going to go frostbite. I kept saying, guys, can you please close it? And I have to stop every 30 minutes when I'm navigating, when I'm to come back and check. But some people would not understand the severity of it, you know. And that's only here I'm talking about, you know. Then it goes to their hands. People would operate taking their gloves and, oh my God, yeah, well, you get frostbite, you got to cut your fingers. And if you're on 1,000 meters, you probably could not even come down because you cannot use your fingers. You know, so sometimes people don't understand how things could escalate. Like, for example, okay, max goggles. You need to have them both conditions. If it's sunny, if it's windy and all that, yeah. If you have the goggles, let me give my own example, K2 winter. I have these goggles and every breathing is like deliberate, every breathing, every second. Okay, if you just don't stay self-disciplined and you just breathe from either your nose, your goggles gonna get steam. Now you see. You probably say, oh, your goggles is steam cleaning. No, you can't. You take the goggles out, by the time you get out, it's frozen. Yeah? Now you put the frozen goggle, you cannot see anything. Okay, now for some people, if you don't see, you wanted to take the goggles out, then you get snow blindness. You cannot see anything and you're gonna die. Does people understand that level of discipline you need? I don't think nobody gets that.
This fine line between brave and stupid, I like that.
Yeah.
How do you dance that line? Because I'm sure you've had to roll the dice at times.
Honesty, through and through. Honesty on your ability.
The last one I wanted to ask is, what was your experience at the top of Everest for the first time? You know, that view.
For the first time, I still remember, because everybody says, oh, as soon as you summit, you need to come down because you're going to die and all these things, right? So I was like, I went, I was like, hey, take pictures. So, first time was, nothing. But the second time when I went with the Gurkhas, I was like, wow. That was the best summit ever because the weather was so perfect, everything, and I was confident at this time, so I was getting my oxygen max out. I stayed there for 2 hours without oxygen and just like, but people, I was the first one, I don't even know.
What's the view like, and like, what does that do for you when you see, you stood on top of the world? What does that feel like?
It's amazing, it's beautiful when you climb with equal versus, it's of course, there's no price tag for that. But nowadays, for me, I'm thinking about what my guys are doing, what my other clients are doing. So there's a lot in my head when I summit. But yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate you squeezing this in.